Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Warren Lance, and I want to welcome you to the weekly Take Action team call, where each week, not only do we want to inspire you into taking action to move your business forwards, but we really want to give you some tools in how to do that. And the couple that I have the absolute privilege of welcoming to the call today is, they came from a corporate background. This guy was running, was general manager of an oil services company. He raced motocross bikes for 10 years. His beautiful wife was a payroll administrator, and somehow they found their way into Isagenix. And what's interesting is they gave up, Ryan, I'll say, gave up this corporate career where he was to go on to become vice president of a fairly large company to move to Vancouver Island. It was all about lifestyle and their absolute belief as a couple that through network marketing, they could out-earn any VP position with some oil services company. And you know what? They're actually doing it. They've just gone 3-star Golden Circle, which is a six-figure income. So it is my absolute treat to welcome to the line today, none other than Ryan and Rhonda Ramsey. How are you guys doing today?
Oh, we're great, Warren. Thank you very much for having us. We're pretty honored to be on this call. We listen to, I think, almost every one of them. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you. Thanks, Warren.
Well, hey guys, your business is growing. Good things are happening. It's pretty exciting.
It is, and it's funny because it just sort of happens to you, and then you just kind of like realize all the work that you've put in is starting to, show the numbers. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. And I know you've been in the business now about 4 years, but let's roll back the clock of time 4 years, Rhonda, and sort of how did you get introduced to Isagenix in the first place? What caused you to say yes?
I love this word, persistence, because it really was persistence from some really good friends of ours of why we're sitting here today. So I have to definitely thank them for that. And, we've kind of said, I've heard some stories before of, secret users of products and not telling anybody. And that was kind of us. We just sort of, send us the products. And then we just sort of hid it from everybody, didn't really use it. So
Rhonda's being very nice when she says that, though. It was, our good friends Ryan and Tresley were very persistent, and we kept telling them no. And then eventually, I do believe we just kind of...
What period of time?
6 to 8 months at least.
Yeah.
Every time I would fly into Calgary, Ryan would hook up with me for coffee. And then I think we just kind of pulled the plug just to stop the persistence, let's say.
So there's a lesson here. There's a huge lesson that, and so many of us, especially when we're getting started, we take that no. You talk to your neighbor, you talk to a friend, they say no, not interested, or you're crazy, whatever it may be. And they take the no as permanently, like that's a no for forever. When the reality is, you said numerous times over 6 to 8 months, no, not interested. And finally, they got the yes from you guys.
That's right. Like, I bet you there's 15 to 20 conversations, for sure.
For sure.
And then your yes was not a full yes. It was like,
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, leave us alone. So you ordered the product. I imagine you both got 30-day programs, value packs. What did you guys actually start with?
It's actually a little bit embarrassing now to say how we started, but Ryan and I shared a 30-day system that probably took us at least 2 months to get through. And I'm sure we had some lingering stuff months after that too. So it is a bit embarrassing. No value pack started here, but as we went on, we definitely started to see the value and how we wished we'd started with a value pack.
Okay, cool. I appreciate your honesty. I mean, a 30-day system is one person, 30 days. And somehow you managed 2 people for over 2 months on it. So I can tell you were certainly diligent product users. Okay, so you've been on the for a while, and like a couple months, but you're sort of hit and miss. So what's changing? Like, how did you sort of transition to become diligent on the product, or what was happening there?
Well, we started the product, you know, that first couple of months, and then the company I was working with got purchased by a larger national size company, and they relocated me back to Calgary. So I was commuting back and forth working from the island, and they relocated us back. And, you know, when we got back to Calgary, we started using the products a little more because we're with Ryan and Tresley there more often. And then it was just really a conversation because we didn't get into it for the products, we didn't think. But I remember Ryan and Tresley just taking all these vacations, and I knew Ryan really well and what he did for his career. And I knew what he was making. And I one day over, I think we were having a beer probably in the backyard. I just said, Ryan, how are you going to Vegas and how are you doing all this? Because I know what you make. And he just said, Isagenix. And honestly, so I told Rhonda about that later. And they were like, well, you know, maybe there's something to this. Maybe we should look at it.
Okay, so hang on a second. So it was his lifestyle. You knew what he was earning, and it was a shift in his lifestyle, seeing all these trips. How were you seeing the trips? Was he calling you from these different places, or were you seeing them on Facebook?
Yeah, social media, and then we're friends with them. So, you know, we would know when they're heading out to Vegas or heading out to this show and that show. And we were just prevalent to it. So eventually we had to ask, because I certainly know what I was making, and you have to save up for your family trips, and you're certainly not taking 3 or 4 or 5 a year, right? So.
Right. Cool. So that was really the turning point for the two of you. Was here's friends of you guys sort of making similar money, and now all of a sudden they're taking 4 or 5 trips a year, which you guys couldn't afford to do, yet they're doing it. And it was like, wait a second, maybe we should take a bigger look at Isagenix.
Yeah, it was that in conjunction. I think as soon as we relocated back to Calgary, and Rhonda, you can add to it, we immediately moved back to Calgary and just wanted to be living back on the island again. So we had to figure out some way to get back to the island, and it just kind of worked out timing-wise.
You saw that if you could develop your Isagenix business, it could be a route back to the island for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd like to say that, but I think it was kind of like a maybe. It was one of the avenues to look at. You know what I mean?
Got it. So your belief level wasn't quite there yet. Now, I know one of the turning points for you was I believe you sort of had your arm twisted to go to NYKO. I mean, we have a big NYKO event coming up in a couple months here in North America. And so you guys are certainly product users, not business builders. First question, I guess, is what caused you to go to NYKO in the first place? And then what happened at that event to shift you from that product user to a business builder?
Yeah, I think, you know, I kind of was in before Ryan, you know. He was the one that really had an issue with delving into the business more. And I mean, I was busy with the kids, so I sort of was kind of waiting for him to jump in and us do it together. So it was actually a call with another really good friend of ours now, who wasn't at the time, Stephen Lavodi, who just spoke with Ryan on the phone. And thank you to Ryan and Trez for getting us on the phone with him, and kind of opened his mind enough that he would consider even going to an event, because he was really against spending any of his extra time away from the family.
Yeah.
When he worked all week, there was a lot had to make him take his weekend and go away from his family to do something. You know, it was all about family time. So that conversation kind of led him to be like, okay, we'll go to this event, and I'll prove you all that it was.
So did you go to this event as a couple?
Yeah.
Okay, you did. So I guess, what did Stephen say to you? It sounds like from Rhonda, Ryan, that you were very reluctant to go to NYKO. It was a weekend away from your 2 beautiful girls. And yet he said something to cause you to say, okay, I'll go and I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah, you know, I can't nail it down to 1 or 2 things he said, but when you talk to Stephen, anytime anybody talks to Stephen, he just pours his heart out, and his story, a lot of people can resonate with it. So I think it was just, he just told me his story, and he comes from a corporate, Wall Street background, and is super successful at this. So it was a little bit of that. Also being, I'm not going to lie, Warren, they also tempted us with they rented a giant house with a pool in Palm Springs. So that was also a factor that got me there.
Okay, so, and this is something about culture that it's a lot of times renting the house as a team, a big group of you going there. It's so much more than just the business per se. It's hanging out, building the relationships, and just that community that we create.
Yeah. In hindsight, 99% of it,
Yeah, so they bribed you a little bit, but needless to say, they got you there. Now, you went in there with a little bit of a closed mind. You were looking, you wanted it to be true, but you were extremely skeptical. So share with us, Ryan, what sort of happened at that event to really cause you to change your opinion?
Sure. Well, for me, I guess I wasn't going in there to prove them wrong. I was open-minded, but I was going in there with the mindset, like, I'm going to hear these guys speak. They're going to be, it's going to be off the deep end. Nobody's going to be approachable, and it's not going to be very duplicatable. And what was neat, so when you sit in these audiences, you can be sitting beside somebody who just got started or somebody who's made millions of dollars in the business. But what was neat for me is it says it on the lanyard, how much you make essentially. So, I look over, I'm sitting beside a millionaire, and I was like, let's see if he's approachable. Very approachable. He happened to be a fantastic guy. He told me so many things, and then I saw this a speaker come on stage that I just resonated with, and I was like, I'm going to try and talk to this guy and see just how approachable and how real this stuff is. And sure enough, he's not going to talk to me for sure. Well, I run into him in the hallway, and he gave me all of his time until I was like, okay, I have to run. So that kind of was like, made us realize that there's fantastic, normal people doing some amazing things. And that's when then I opened up. I think Rhonda was super open, but then I was like, honey, if we can, these people are doing it, we can certainly do it with our business background and stuff like that.
Cool. I love that. Normal people doing amazing things. And truly, that's what we are. You go to these events. That was the turning point for Kyle and the Crash. I mean, getting to this university thing, meeting, and I didn't tell them they were Isagenix millionaires. It's so funny. But what ended up happening the last day back then at the universities, they had all the millionaires come up on stage. And a bunch of the people that we were hanging out with all of a sudden got up onto stage, and he looked at me going, are you kidding me? They're all millionaires? Like, really? I mean, as you just said, they're normal people. And he looked at me, he goes, I can do this. And it's the turning point. It really is.
Totally. And you know what got me, Warren, if I could just add to that, is in corporate culture, I came from a really decent corporate culture where there was family involved and stuff. So my mentorship was awesome through my corporate career. But a lot of the cases in corporate, if you're talking to these millionaires who have owned and operated and run these companies, the secrets don't get passed down, and they're not as open to coaching and bringing you along, and these guys, you talk to any Isagenix millionaire, let's say, they're open to help you. They're open to talk to you and to share their story. That doesn't happen in corporate culture. And that kind of was like a breath of fresh air for us.
Of course. I mean, it truly is. And that's the beautiful thing about this structure. The compensation structure is the more we help other people, the better we end up doing. So, I mean, it's actually the compensation plan that drives behavior. And the behavior is, yes, you do want to support people. Yes, you want to help them. You want to pull them up. You want to lift them up. And as a result, we end up doing better too. I mean, it's a beautiful structure. It really is. Now, what about, because one of the things I know that now that you're 4 years into the business, and we'll come back to sort of how your income went, but I know one of the things that you really love about network marketing is that it allows you to have great family time. Like this, it's not sort of like that corporate job up at 6 a.m, getting home at 8. I mean, you have lots of flexibility. Can you just talk a little bit about that? Just the what network marketing can allow for?
Yeah, I think for us that was always a big thing. I mean, we'd gone through some things in our life that just really put family first. So that was a really big driving factor for us. And, you know, as we started to see, as we were growing this business, you know, it was allowing us to have more quality time with our kids and be with them and be focused with them, not just kind of be so tired from your day of work that you really weren't spending time with them. So that was a big factor that we started to see, and we were able to, you know, take some time and just go hang out with them, or, you know, just shut it down when we needed to shut it down and take some time with them. So for me, I had kind of always been at home, but for Ryan, that was like a really big eye-opening experience for him to be able to be home with his family, working side by side. You know, even though your kids bug you sometimes while you're working, it's still nice that they're there and you get to see their faces like 24/7.
You homeschool your two girls.
Yeah. We homeschool, so they are literally here 24/7.
Got it. You might be a little bit on the crazy side. No, I love my three boys, but, you know, sometimes adult time's a good thing too. And I'm sure you put them to bed nice and early. But okay, so you like the flexibility that if it's a gorgeous sunny day, I've met you guys because we happen to both live on Vancouver Island, but we'll head up the ski mountain, and because it's just a gorgeous day, why wouldn't Arlene and I go? And who do we bump into? Yeah. But the two of you and your two beautiful girls. So, I mean, it's that flexibility, I guess, it is very appealing to many of us.
Totally, yeah. To be able to, you know, if the snow flies tomorrow, let's say, and there's a great day at the mountain, we can just adjust our schedule and go enjoy the snow and then come back and do what we needed to do in the evening or in the early morning or whatever. And, you know, if the kids finish school early in the daytime and we have time, we can rip out to the beach for a couple of hours. And that's what really has now kept us. You know, it's a fantastic thing for us, the family.
Okay, because like a little bit of this, and maybe now is a good transition, because again, you've journeyed from sort of product user to 3-star 6-figure income. And I mean, if it's all right, can I sort of share your numbers, how they have unfolded? So the first year, I know you're roughly around $4,000, truly just product users, sharing a little bit with friends and family. The second year, after attending NYKO, New Year Kickoff, there was a jump. You hit about 26,000 a year. Year 3, again, a bit of a jump. You went to 32,000. And I know you guys have a reason why it only went from 26 to 32. But the 4th year, it seems like you've been taking it a little bit more seriously, and all of a sudden you shot up to this year probably about 86,000, which is spectacular. And obviously going into the new year, you're gonna be well above the 100,000 range. But speaking to that little bit that you were building, you got to 26, and then it's not that you stalled out, because there's still a little bit of a bump, but you weren't really growing your business. What was sort of going on there?
Well, from the first year at 4,000, and that's when we went to NYKO, and we happened to be managers accidentally, I suppose, just sharers. And then that bump from 4 to 26 as we went to the next event, which was Celebration Warrant. We had gone from manager to crystal executive. So that contributed to that bump in the income. And then what happened is, I don't want to say we got complacent, but we moved back to the island, and there's some fabulous beaches here. And we beached a little bit too much, thus only, you know, seeing a few $1,000 increase. And we realized that, and we just enjoyed life, but we have had some things in life that make us want to enjoy life a little bit more, and that was okay. And then we looked at the numbers, and we got down to brass tacks, and we just needed to put the pedal to the metal. And then this last year was a great year, and we have some great people on board doing some fantastic things too that contribute largely to that. Okay,
so what you're saying is, like, you grew to about the 26, then it was sort of like, so the money's coming in, and I think many of us can fall into the trap that all of a sudden, like, it's starting to go. I mean, 26,000, nothing wrong with that. I mean, good money's starting to come in. You're thinking it's going to continue to grow, and all of a sudden you sort of took your eye off the business, those activities that we need to do, income producing activities, and it was probably more beach time than business time, and you sort of flatline. You hit 26 to 32, still nice growth, but you were there. Then, as you said, you focus back on your business. really got to work, and you've seen a significant jump up. So can we talk about some of the activities of what shifted? I know less beach time, but what were the activities where you're drilling into your business that caused your business to go from that 32 to basically a six-figure income, which I know you've achieved now?
You know, I think it was really just finding that schedule and that balance. You know, we couldn't do everything in one day and then nothing for 3 days, which was basically kind of what we were doing. We would do some things and we'd take off and go have fun for a few days. And then, you know, so it was the consistent focused action every day. You know, we could still schedule in our beach time, but we needed to make sure we had to get some specific things done. And Ryan can probably speak more to that because he was coming from corporate, you know, where he had his scheduled day, and then all of a sudden he was home with all this time. It was like he had to figure out that schedule to, you know, put the work time in and balance out the free time with that. So
yeah. Now that's a real valid point, because I've seen many individuals that they're building their business, they get to a six-figure income. I mean, and it's solid and it's continuing to grow. They leave their career, whatever it may be, their how they've been supporting their family, thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to have all this time to pour into the business. And all of a sudden, in some cases, people see their businesses almost dip downwards. And it's sort of like, what happens? You have all this free time, but evidently you're not utilizing your time as effectively as when you were working full time. Can you want to talk into that, Ryan? Because I think there's some good lessons there, because many of us are going to continue to grow our business and then finally leave our corporate career, our teaching career, whatever we're doing. Can you speak into some of the traps you fell into and then how you got yourself out of it?
Definitely. So it was really hard to come up with a schedule per se the first while, especially when we left to just do this full time, and having such structure in my corporate career before, and I knew what I was doing every hour and I had the whole week planned out. I just was not used to working at home and for myself that way. So I got a little bit complacent and you know, you would stretch out, oh, I'll move it to tomorrow. And then tomorrow would move to the next day and the next day. And we just weren't doing regular consistent action. And then, you know, you look at the numbers and we're not making enough that we need to make. So we got down and just were like, hey, we've run businesses before, we've owned businesses before. Why aren't we treating this like a legitimate business? And we did, and we continue to now, and the numbers continue to climb. And it takes me having a schedule, and I map out what I'm going to do. You know, Rhonda's so busy with teaching and stuff, and she puts her little consistent actions in daily or nightly. But I have to know what I'm going to do and who I'm going to reach out to, team-wise, prospect-wise, and then also leave yourself open for what happens to roll with the punches for the day. But I needed a consistent plan, and it just took me a while to figure that out.
So speaking of that consistent plan, like now, I mean, do you block time that you go, okay, from 9, once we get the girls, say, set up with the homeschooling or something, like from 10 to 12, are you working your Isagenix business every day? Like, talk to us about how you're scheduling your week. Because again, it's just, and I know it's different for everyone, but specifically, how do you guys schedule your week? What does that look like?
So for me, I know the kids are schooling during certain hours, so I try and plan most of my income producing activities during those hours. So if I'm trying to reach out and prospect, I'll prospect during those hours. If we're trying to build some coaching emails and programs, we'll do it during those hours. If I'm going to go out of the house and meet folks for coffee and stuff like that, it's during those hours. And then usually, you know, we'll have the late afternoons and evenings free with the children, because in this business, as you know, Warren, it sometimes can ramp up in the evenings when people are off of work and they have time for you. So quite often, a lot of evenings we'll spend time with our team and things like that, helping them. So I try and get the meats and potatoes done in a few hours in the daytime, so I can have some time with the kids and then ramp up again in the evening.
Okay, cool.
And for me, I'm the mom, I'm the homeschooler, so I have to schedule in the family stuff first, and I'm the pockets of my time. You know, if I can fit in a few messages in the morning before we start school, I'll do that. And then a little bit after school before we head out to do, you gotta do the things you love to do every day too, to keep your mindset in. So we schedule that time in usually in the afternoon, because like Brian said, evenings can turn into phone calls, team calls, that sort of thing. So
okay,
I fit the pockets kind of around his schedule too.
I love it, because it's true. I mean, that's how, when we have a job, we fit Isagenix into the nooks and crannies of our life. Here's a quick 10 minutes. You can do a call. You can do something. It's just a quick message. And it's that consistency that wins the day. I love when you started, it isn't the fact that you work your business for maybe 2 or 3 days and then you take 2 or 3 days off. That start, stop, as many of us have discovered, becomes very, like, it's not productive. It's the little activities on a consistent basis, day in, day out, that truly wins the day. So love that. Now, the other thing I know you guys do really well, and it was sort of what shifted for you, because as your business was starting to go, I mean, you believed in the product, but to a certain degree, you didn't super believe in the product. And where you guys are now, your belief on a scale of 1 to 10 has gone to 15. And part of that turning point was actually hearing other people's results. And as a result of that, I know you guys now really have your team members. You really encourage team members sharing their stories, because it's by them sharing the stories to prospects, but also your team, that inspires other team members. Can you guys speak into that a little bit?
Yeah, like we knew we loved the products, and I mean, our belief was great for us, but when we started to see our team, have their own transformations, and when you start getting texts and messages of people thanking you, they wish they'd done it sooner, and I feel amazing, that sort of thing. It started to, we were like, wow, other people are feeling like we're feeling. This is awesome. And sharing those stories with more team members just gets everybody excited. And for us, it just kind of lifted our belief, along with, learning more about the products ourselves, but seeing them actually work in other people. That was the third party that we needed to keep our belief level up, for sure.
Yeah. You can feel a certain way and have a certain transformation, but as soon as you see a family member, a close friend, and, until you get years and years into this business, you're still working with your friends and family. And when it's your friends and family, Warren, that are texting you some amazing texts that you never would have gotten in your corporate career, that was a huge game changer for us to read some of these emails. And not that we did anything, like, it's them on their own journey. We just support and high five them and cheer them on. It's all them, but just to be part of it, that was a really big game changer for us in our belief and in everything, really. So.
Cool. And now you really just encourage team members, because what we really become is collectors of stories, right? And it's so important to have our team members share their results. I know, Rhonda, you went to this medical clinic, and they did a bunch of blood work on you, and what ended up happening, I mean, the results were spectacular. And you also shared the Isagenix products and had them look at, like, what's in them. And it was sort of like, this is phenomenal nutrition. Again, that raised your belief level.
Totally. And I had been consistently using these products, like, for 4 years. And, it's kind of something that's just been in my daily routine, that I was not really looking to change anything, and to find out that, I really was in the best shape of my life, going into turning 40. It just solidified that even more for me, like, that I can keep doing what I'm doing with these amazing products, and change a couple other things on the outside. It was just the belief again, just higher and higher, if that's even possible.
Yeah. Love it. Now, I know the other thing you guys like to do is sort of like leverage the potential, because, again, coming from the corporate background, Ryan, you do deal with business people and that, and you like to leverage the potential of network marketing. Not all the time, but many times when the opportunity presents itself, you'll cast a vision, you'll just show the potential. Can you speak into that a little bit? Because I think that's something that I believe all of us, me included, could get better at, because truly lifestyle, the financial freedom where you guys do have the ability to get up and go. Like, I mean, I know at one point you were here and all of a sudden you're down in Mexico. Like, but you can't do that with the corporate job yet. Here you have this freedom. But share, like, talk into that a little bit if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, that's right. We do share it sometimes. And it usually starts with talking about the time freedom and family freedom. Because, you know, a lot of the people we talk to have families. And a lot of them also own a business or run a business. And, you know, for business owners, you know, Warren, you came from running your own business. You are pulling 16, 18-hour days. You know, you never see your family. You're hoping to pay your staff and maybe you, if you're lucky, you know, so that's a huge thing when you're when you're talking to people and you're talking to team who know a bit about business and or even that don't, when sharing the fact that, hey, listen, you can still have a really fantastic income. You can have all the same benefits as let's call a brick and mortar business, you know, with regards to write-offs and tax breaks and stuff like that, but be able to do it from home. Be able to do it in your own time with some consistent planned out time, but in your own time, be able to take your kid to and from school. Like I know you guys send your kids out to school in the morning before you get going. A lot of parents can't do that. A lot of kids have to go to before school care, you know, and that's huge aside from all the business opportunities with it, right? So that's really big for us. And then also, you know, just the potential of the actual network marketing business, you know, for us to have, we'll have conversations with people who are business owners and maybe looking to diversify, and you can have as almost no overhead, you know, we're just eating our overhead business that drop ships with no warehousing, no invoicing, no anything for whatever you eat a month really is your overhead. That's a big deal, you know. If I wish I was approached a long time ago. The business owner with it, you know. So for Rhonda and I, they're just it's the time freedom with the family, but it just kind of snowballs from there, you know. Love it.
And I think that's important that we remember to share that. I mean, it is when we're having those conversations with other individuals, it's remembering that to share the freedom that this business, this industry, this profession allows, but they got to also realize it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It is called network marketing. You need to put in the work before you start to experience that side of this business. But if you're willing to put in the work consistently, as you guys have said, it has a huge difference, or makes a huge difference. Now, the other thing I know Rhonda and Ryan, you guys are incredibly passionate about is the concept of working deep within your team. And many of us we sort of, and I think it's normal, but we'll tend to focus in on the people that we've shared the business with, our personal people. And yet there's so many more people within the team, and sometimes we forget about them. But you guys sort of really believe it's so important to dig deep. You want to talk into that a little bit? Because again, I truly believe that's part of the reason why you've gone from that 32,000 and seen your income triple. Yeah, please share.
Yeah, you know, I have to give all the credit to Ryan and Tresley for that, because, you know, when we started to really look at the business, Tresley and I would definitely get together, and that's where we started to look in our back office, you know, and it comes to that saying of, you know, once you start to treat it like a business, it will start to earn you money like a business, because we weren't looking any further than, you know, our personally enrolled. So they kind of taught us how to look deep, you know, get down there, who's sitting on what, who's about to cycle, how can we reach out to them, you know. And it was kind of just dissolving the lines altogether and just find the people who wanted help, find the people who were looking to earn, whether you're personally enrolled or not. And that's kind of been a thing that we've consistently started to incorporate now over the last little bit of just, you know, whoever's ready and willing, just run with them, whether they're...
Okay. So sounds fantastic, but you started to look deep, right? How did you actually do that? I mean, it's great. It sounds great what you're saying, but we're going to have listeners, thousands of people are going to listen to the call, and okay, great. But how do I do that? Like, be specific. How does someone look deep into their organization?
Well, it's not pretty. And that's the thing, you see the glitz and glam sometimes of the stars and it literally is going into your back office and clicking on all those little plus signs and finding the people and finding the names and reaching out. There is no, it's work. You have to actually literally click on all the pluses in your organization and find those people.
Yeah.
One of the things I'll just share that I like to do is, as you said, when you're looking at the people, it'll actually show you how much product they've ordered in the last 30 days. And all of a sudden, so you see like 120, maybe 140, 100, all of a sudden 682. And it's like, what the heck is this? Who is this? And that's right. You want to get on the phone with them. Hey, Nancy, I see you placed this huge order. What's going on? How come you ordered so much product? Because that appears to be like a 6-month supply. And it's getting into those conversations that all of a sudden you find out, hey, she's going into trade shows. She wanted to have a bunch of, she's interested in the business, right? Like it's, as you just said, it's digging deep and it's having the conversations to try to find the individuals that want to link arms with you.
Yeah. And we've also, thanks to following suit with Ryan and Tresley's team cultures, we keep in touch with our team and our team's team and, all the way down via Facebook Messenger. And as somebody new comes on the team, that doesn't matter the level, there's usually an introductory message or a phone call, and they might be 4 or 5 or 3 levels deep. But we develop a relationship, and as they start to want to share, they can go to their personal road sponsor. If they resonate with us, they can come to us. If they don't resonate with us, they go to Ryan and Tresley and all the way up. And that's been hugely helpful because we didn't really do a lot of introductions in the beginning, and you could see that by our growth. And then as soon as we started doing more team introductions, helping our team learn that aspect of the business, stuff just started blossoming, And
so where are you doing the team introduction? I think this is a great point for people to realize. Like when you say, okay, you just enrolled, I don't know, Nancy. You just enrolled. How are you, when you do a team introduction, how are you doing that? Like, do you have an email list or a Facebook group? How are you actually introducing Nancy? What does that look like?
So we have team pages. We have a couple of different team pages focused on different aspects, but for that specific, it's either a phone call or a Facebook message, and we'll get them randomly throughout the day with 3 or 4 people in, just saying, hey, I just wanted to introduce Warren. He just started up with his value pack. He lives out in wherever in the NYKO. I just wanted to connect you guys in case I'm not around. You can reach out to Ryan and Rhonda, and that's the
so you like to, so traditionally, and I think this has been said before, that when we bring in a new person, even if they're just a product user, we should at least introduce them to 2 to 3 individuals so that, again, it's more than just you guys. Because sometimes what the perception is, Nancy's going, well, the only reason you guys are doing this is you're trying to make money from me. Let's be honest. But then when you introduce them to somebody else, that they don't link it together. And now all of a sudden, be it Arlene's talking to Nancy, like, yeah, hey, this is what happened to me. And if you have any questions, give me a call. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa. And again, the magic, that culture starting to be created. I love it. Huge point.
That, and also sometimes, you might, even if you're personally enrolled, they might have way more in common with somebody else on your team than you, and that's been big for us. I might enroll you, Warren, but you might really resonate with Ryan Fry way better and link arms with him. That's awesome. And that's how we look at it here.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, Rhonda, any final comments that you'd like to share with our listeners?
It's just interesting because, life throws you curveballs all the time. And you know, we love these products. And I've always kind of thought, well, my story is a product story. You know, I love the products, and I'm healthier now than I've ever been, and that sort of thing. But when you really look at it, it's the freedom that network marketing has offered our family is something that I can get so passionate about. And the fact that it's just linked with health and wellness is the icing on the cake for me. So, you know, just that consistency every day, love what you do, share what you do, share what you love, and the success will follow that.
Nice. How about you, Ryan?
Yeah, just to agree and maybe add on to Rhonda's a little bit is just what network marketing does for so many people. And then when you link arms with a product that can really help people, it's
priceless.
It's really, exactly, priceless is the word, you know, and there's just so much potential that we see, and the sky's the limit, really. And as cheesy as that seems, it is. Like, you, in 5 years, if you, like, you were talking about giving yourself some years. Well, giving ourselves 5 years, I know we're going to make more than I could have made 5 years in my last career. So.
Love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing. I love just how you do create that family balance. And I know there's lots of parents that are going to be listening to this call, and just because it is getting it done when your kids are busy, as you said, schooling. But then when they're done, it's saying, hey, a lot of kids that go to school, they're done by 3 o'clock. Allow that block of time, 3 to 5, to hang out with them and create those special relationships. I mean, ultimately, why do we have kids? I mean, we love them. We want to spend time with them, see them grow up. And so it's this profession allows us to take that opportunity. And it is absolutely beautiful. So thank you both so much for sharing. It's been an absolute treat. What I will say is, if anyone wants to get a copy of this recording, there's actually 4 ways. You could go to Facebook and follow the Take Action team, and Katie will post the recordings up there. You can go to Podomatic Player and download. When you download the Podomatic Player, follow Take Action team, and every time she posts the podcast, poof, you'll get it. So you go out for a run, you can listen to them. You can also just go to takeactionteam.com, follow our email list, and you'll get the recordings sent out to you. And the other way is, if you want to get the actual video recording, if you go to YouTube, search Take Action Team, and you follow it, what'll end up happening is you'll get notifications every time a new Take Action Team Zoom call is posted. So with that, everyone, have an absolute blessed week. It's been an absolute treat. Thank you, guys. And I guess we're almost still on work time, but I know shortly it's going to be taking off and go and have fun with the kids. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.